Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Daya Bhuteshu Bhuteshu Dukkhiteshu Daya Krupa. Compassion for the miserable people. Compassion for the miserable people is one of the techniques by which we are able to extend the limitation of our identification with our miseries and go beyond that small little existence. And we are able to appreciate the miseries of all the people and the beings. This is how the process of expansion takes place. All the problems are only when we concentrate ourselves with an object called as the body, our own life, etc. But when we expand and break the barrier of individuality, then it becomes the divine quality. So, the divine wealth is this ability to expand and go beyond the limitation of individual existence. So, Daya Bhuteshu. This is the first step. Second thing is, when we have compassion for the miseries of the people, where is our attention? If our attention is only on the miseries, we are lost only in the conditioning, kshetra, and the modification of the conditioning, the kshetra vikara. What is the kshetra vikara? Kshetra vikara is Ichcha, Dvesha, Sukham, Dukkham, Sangatas, Chetana, Dhrutihi. So Dukkham falls in the purview of the modification of the kshetra. And therefore, if our attention is on that conscious reality that we are, and the same conscious reality is throbbing in and through the total creation, then as we want to eliminate our miseries, so also we will be equally wanting to eliminate the miseries of others. This is how, when we recognize the divinity in everyone, our extension of hand is natural. Like when our own finger goes in our eye, the same finger goes and consoles the same eye. And when the finger is likely to get in the wrong place, the eye tells, don't go there. It is harmful to you. In the same manner, when our identification crosses the barrier of individuality, then alone we are expanding. Expansion of the mamata from the limited to the unlimited is the divine quality. And for that, Daya Bhuteshu. Then Alolupatvam. Alolupatvam is Indriyanam Vishaya Sannidhau Avikriya. See, when the objects are not available, and therefore we are not indulgent, this is not called as non-indulgence, vairagya. When objects are available, but we do not have the capacity to indulge, and therefore we don't get involved in the bhoga, that is also not vairagya. Then the objects are available, we have the capacity, but we don't have the freedom. And therefore, under compulsion, when we have to keep ourselves away from the worldly objects, that is also not vairagya. Then what is that? When objects for indulgence are freely available, when we have the capacity to indulge, and when we have the freedom to indulge, in spite of that, Bhagavan says here that Indriyanam Vishaya Sannidhahu Avikriya, when our senses are no more disturbed or agitated by the presence or absence of objects in the respective field, then it is called as alolupatvam. There is no lolupata, temptation, influencing the functioning of our senses. It is called as alolupata. This alolupata is possible only when we are rooted in the inner peace and inner strength. How long are we going to run away from the world? See, like the yogis are told that yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. Why run away from the chitta vrittis? And the more we run away from the Prakriti, the modifications of the Prakriti, the more we will be victimized by that. And therefore, if we are strong enough that our senses are under our control, our mind is under our control, thereafter it doesn't matter in which situation we are. Therefore, alolupatvam, absence of disturbances by the presence or absence of the worldly objects, tells the inner strength, and that is what is called as the Daivi Sampatti, the divine wealth for the seeker. Then Mardavam, Daya Bhuteshva Loluptvam Mardavam. Mardavam is what? Mruduta, Akrauryam. See, Mrudu means soft. Like this example is given by Bhagavan Shankaracharya. It also comes in our Patanjali, in our Panchadashi also we have seen that if we want to mold something into an idol, so that metal is first of all boiled, melted. In that melted metal, any shape can be given. In the same manner, when our mind is extremely hard, be very attentive. What is the meaning of very hard mind? Very hard mind is something like this. When we are identified with the gross body, the shape of our mind is so strong that the mind cannot think but in relation to the gross body. See, it is something like this, You hold an object in your hand, heavy object or any object, even light object, doesn't matter, and don't give it up. After holding the same object for a long period of time, our hand develops a cramp. And then with that cramp in the hand, you cannot do next job perfectly well. Because that earlier shape, the hardness of the shape, will influence our next performance. In the same manner, when our mind is so much molded in the shape of the gross body, that mind will think always in relation to the gross body. See, in the deep sleep, when our mind has discarded identification with the gross body, as a result, there are no thoughts in relation to the gross body and the gross world. So here, Mardavan, Mruduta, softness is that quality of a seeker who has the ability, the freedom and the will to dissociate himself from anything in this world is called as Mardavam, Mruduta. Like example given by the masters is when the clay pot is not yet cooked, it is still wet. So we can mold it, we can change it. But once it is roasted in the fire, then you cannot. In the same manner, as long as our mind is living in identification with the gross body, all our spiritual practice will be gross body oriented. See? And what will we do with this gross body? How long? Therefore, the technique given in our scriptures is that you are someone other than the gross body. Who is that you? The Jiva. Okay. The moment I accept myself to be the soul, the Jiva, who is residing in the gross body, then I will start thinking beyond the limitation of the birth and the death of the present body. When this happens, the canvas of our painting has expanded beyond the two limits of death and birth. Then only we are expanding. That ability to expand from the individuality and merge in the totality is possible only when Mruduta, Mardavam, when we are soft, not hard. Hardness is always with insistence, duragraha. Whenever we are insistent, we are a very hard personality. We don't want to give up our own conviction. Like our Kaivalya Upanishad tells us, na karmana na prajaya dhane na tyage naike amrutatva manashu. It is easier to give up all other things, but the most difficult thing to give up is our own convictions, our own notions. Our present notion is that we are the body. The second notion is that we are the best. The third notion is that through action, through karma, I can achieve something. Fourth, efforts are leading to some results. But we forget that prayatna shaithilya ananta samapatibhyam. The real spiritual progress is when you are able to go beyond the efforts and remain effortless in your interaction with the world. Then alone you are slowly breaking the barrier of individuality. Efforts indicate an unhealthy condition. Whenever we are effortless, we are in optimum health. Therefore, Mardavam, Mruduta Akrauryam. Krurata is obsession of one's own views. Like for example, I study Bhagavad Gita, then I will have the obsession. Everybody in the world should study Bhagavad Gita. Others don't want to study. They don't want to study. No, they have to. They don't understand. We have to tell them. As if we have understood. See? Similarly, see why the elderly people become problem to themselves and to the people at home. They have no problem of getting up in the morning because they never sleep at night. And when the youngsters, the bubbling with blood people are sleeping little late hours, they can't tolerate. And then there will be too much of obsession, disturbance. Therefore, Mruduta, Akrauryam and Mardavam. Then third is, next is Rihi. Rihi is Lajja. See, Ri means what? Lajja means what? Being shy means what? There are two aspects in this. it is lajja is a positive force as well as a negative force. First of all, let us understand how the lajja or feeling shy is a positive force. When we are feeling shy of going off the track, we will be protected from ourselves. Extremely necessary. See, the traditions in the society, tradition in the family, is the only way by which an ignorant, illiterate child can be put on the right track. The only way. There is no other way. For example, recently I had gone to Cochin for the 60th birthday of my friend. So his children have organized a very big function, hundreds of people came and all kinds of puja and all that. So when we go there, we have to talk. Without that, nobody gives you food. So Papi Pet ke liye I spoke. And there I brought out this topic, that unless we have a belonging to something higher in life, we will never be keeping ourselves within the limits. Take for example, if a person doesn't have the trace of his own pedigree, who is father, who is mother, not known, somewhere born and somewhere brought up, parents are not traceable, lived in a jhopadpatti or the roadside, and lived the way he has to live. Now such a person will never have any sense that if I do this thing, it will not be good because what people will say. And this what people will say is one simple technique by which we protect ourselves from going into licentiousness under the mistaken understanding of freedom. Very important. So lajja becomes, or the feeling shy becomes, a creative force. Second thing, when we are in the presence of the teacher or the elders, we normally don't talk in a very high pitch or shout at anybody or abuse. Why? We feel shy. How can I talk loudly? How can I use bad words? My mother is there, my father is there, elders are there, so I feel shy to talk loudly. Automatically, control is attained. See? In our tradition, we are supposed to get up when elders enter the room. Now by this tradition, what happens? Nothing happens to the elders. They are as they are. But we, the youngsters, we discard the laziness. See? How important. Like when we sit for Satsang, we have got many, do's and don'ts. How we should sit in the Satsang, how we should not yawn, how we should not talk with each other. These are all traditions. By this what happens? We control ourselves from within. See? Take another thing. If we want to practice yoga abhyas, now as you are sitting, sit in one asana, don't change, don't move for the whole satsang. You have 10 asana siddhi, but our condition is like the idli stone. After every 5 minutes, we have to move this way, we have to move this, we have to move this thing. And put the chilies below, chutney will be ready. Therefore, feeling shy in behaving with the so-called freedom in the presence of the elders, he is a creative force. It is not a negative force. Therefore, he. In Ramcharitmanas, Bhagwan Ramchandra ji gives the kingdom of Lanka to Bibhishan ji after the war is over. And there Tulsidas ji writes that Bhagwan Ramachandra gave this kingdom which he won to Bibhishana Sakuchi with great shyness, that I can't give you more than this. See? Feeling shy. What can we give to anybody in this world? But we have that kind of notion that we can give things to the world. When we were not in this world, the world was a happy place. Our arrival has made all the difference. Therefore, our departure will make another difference. He takes away the arrogance and the wrong notions from our mind. Therefore, Daya Bhuteshvalo Luptam Mardavam Rihi. Taittiriya Upanishad says, Riyadeyam. Whenever we are giving to somebody something, we must have that sense that what I am giving is nothing. When this bhava comes in our mind, that ri or lajja or shyness helps us in erasing the ego born out of our charity, etc. So, daya bhuteshvalo luptvam madhavam rihi, and then achapalam. This is most beautifully explained by Bhagwan Shankara. Asati prayojane vak pani padadinam avyaparayitrutvam. Asati prayojane, when there is no need. Vak pani pada. Vak is speech. Pani, the hands. Pada, the legs. Asati prayojane, when there is no need. That time also we keep on doing something or the other. Like, many people when they sit, they just can't sit. They have to keep on moving their legs. Why? Mayara. See? Or vak, the speech. In Manusmriti, there are 10 aspects of the speech given. Only one I will tell you. To know when to talk and when not to talk. More than when to talk, the more important thing is when not to talk. Many a times, it is our own tongue which doesn't have a bone, therefore keeps on wagging, and later we regret. Asati prayojane. See, our Shastras tell, Janan apihi medhavi jadavat lokamachare. When somebody asks the question without the sincerity and longing to know the truth, but only for the general knowledge sake, that time Medhavi, the wise person, Jadavat lokam acharet, he should start waving that he is a dumb. He doesn't know anything. There is no point in talking. Therefore, 3 things: Vak, Pani and Padadinam asati prayojane. When there is no need, we have to keep them quiet. Extremely necessary. Because by that, our prana shakti vyaya, we are unnecessarily spending our energy in all different unwanted activities. Therefore, achapalam. Now, in this last verse, the remaining divine wealth are enumerated. Teja kshama dhruti shaucham. Adroho nati manita Bhavanti sampadam daivim Abhijatasya Bharata. Hey Bharata, hey Arjun, O Indian, Tejaha. Teja, Bhagavan writes, very beautiful. He says, Tejaha pragalbham na tvakta dipti. Teja means that inherent greatness which is experienced in the presence of the great masters. That is called as Teja. And na tvagata dipti. Tvagata dipti means, tvag means the skin. When you have polished your skin nicely, you have just now come out of the beauty parlor and then chakachak. That is not called as the Tej. The best example of Tej I can think of is what happened during the round table conference. When Mahatma Gandhi reached, Churchill, the then Prime Minister, very clearly told, when that Indian beggar comes, no need to get up and receive him with honor. And when our Mahatma Gandhi, in his unique attire, reached there, the first person to get up and receive him was Churchill. This happens only because of this stage. You know, those who are sensitive, they get this experience. In the presence of the great masters, those who are able to be in the tune with the master, automatically, in his presence itself, we attain quietness. There was one great Mahatma, he was saying only one thing, Shunyata. And what is that Shunyata? He was Danish by origin, and when he was young, a teenager, working in the garden, in Royal Garden in UK, and there our Rabindranath Tagore was there. By then he had been awarded the Nobel Prize for his Gitanjali. And he saw this young boy, a teenager. So he called him here. How come you are here? Come with me to India. He came to India. He stayed in Shantiniketan for a few days. Then he went to Ramana Maharshi's ashram. For 3 days he was simply sitting quiet there. Nothing to ask. And then third day, Ramana Maharshi said, yes, Shunyata. Only 2 words. And with that total absence of duality and the immaculate absolute presence of the non-dual existence, he left and lived for 60-70 years near Almoda. No word, no discussions, no questions. And when the Californians came, they wanted to take him away. He said, I have nothing to tell to anybody. Why do you take me? Even then, Americans, as you know, they took him. So to that also he had no opposition, he was taken. And after staying for a year or two, one day he was going for a walk, a car came and banged him and he died. So, Teja means, as in the presence of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, everything is to be quiet. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to walk from Bengal to Vrindavan, all the wild animals in his presence will become absolutely friendly with each other. That is called as Tej. This is what Bhagavan says here, Teja pragalvyam na tvagata diptihi. Then Kshama, Akrustasya taditasya va antarvikriya anutpattihi utpannayam vikriyayam prashamanam akrodha iti avochama. Itham kshamaya akrodhasya cha visheshaha. So what is the meaning of Kshama? Akrustasya taditasya va antarvikriya anutpattihi. When insult or any bad thing happens to us, as a result of which there is not even a dent on our mind. See? Jitatmanaha prashantasya paramatma samahitaha shitoshna sukhadukheshu. Shitoshna sukhadukheshu jitatmanaha. That is what is called as Kshama. Akrustasya taditasya va antarvikriya anutpattihi. No dent, no turmoil because of anything that may happen. That is called as Kshama. Kshama is not, jao humne tumko maaf kar diya. It is not Kshama, it is only arrogance. Similarly, there was a person, agarbatti brand, and he happened to meet one sumo. And sumo is sumo. For no reason, he gave that agarbatti one hard. And agarbatti went in 360 for 360 times. And after that, when he came to senses, she looked at the sumo and said, I forgive you. If you don't, you get another one. That is not Kshama. Kshama is this. Antar vikriya anutpattihi. Not even one trace of any hatred for anything or anybody, even in dream. That is called as Kshama. Earlier it was said, Utpannayam vikriyayam prashamanam akrodha iti avochama. And what we told about akrodha, absence of anger. When the disturbances come in the mind as a result of insult or difficulties, but we have that control over our mind, that the anger is digested. It is no more expressed. That ability to digest the anger is akrodha. And when even the anger doesn't come up, that is called as Kshama. You know what Kshama does, forgiveness does? Forgiveness is in our own interest. About this I'll tell you an example. There was one lady, she asked me this question. Swamiji, I do not know what to do. Something has happened during my childhood, and as a result, my mother just doesn't like me. She just hates me. And everything I did in my whole life to please her, but she doesn't compromise. And this makes me hurt extremely. So please help me. How should I tell her not to hate me? I said, first of all, if she is your mother, never teach parents. First rule. Parents are an altar of reverence. They are not the disciple to be taught. Matrudevo bhava, mommy, you don't know. Pitrudeva, dad, you never know anything. Then, what are the reasons? So she told, this is the reason. I said, now tell me, whether right or wrong, but this is her conviction, that because of you, she has lost the most valuable thing in her life. Whether this is right or wrong is a different issue, but this is her conviction. Now look at the situation from her conviction point of view. She is right. And don't expect old people to change. Old people cannot change, therefore Bhagwan comes to help them. So that they are given next chance. Next life try karna. Therefore, here Kshama is the ability to understand other man's standpoint and the readiness to accept the things without retaliation. Pratikriya. That is called as Kshama. When this Kshama or forgiveness, this becomes the foundation of our lifestyle, it is our own mind which remain calm and quiet. Because whenever we talk about something whom we hate, immediately that person whom we hate, we want to keep him away from the whole world. We allow that person to enter in our bosom and then suffer. Therefore, Kshama, forgiveness, is the best technique by which we can remove the poison of enmity from our mind. Kshama. Then, Dhrutihi. Now, what is the meaning of Dhruti? Dehendriyeshu avasadam prapteshu tasya pratishedhakaha antakarana vritti vishesho yena uttam bhitani karnani dehacha na avasidanti. Dhruti means that perseverance because of which we continue to walk the job that we have taken in the hand without losing heart, without losing confidence, and without getting tired. That ability to continue in spite of the difficulties outside and the difficulties inside, that ability of perseverance is called as Dhruti. This is what happens with many seekers. I know one family, 3 brothers, and very closely known to me, and their mother was not very old. She was in her early 50s, and out of the 3 brothers, 2 married and the younger is still studying. And suddenly something happened and the mother died. Now she was a good lady, doing all puja pothi, looking after the house and all that. She died. Immediately the 3 brothers came together and declared, there is nothing like God. We don't believe in anything. If God was there, why our mother died? She was such a good lady. So, one of the son's wife, she came with her mother and started, Swamiji, I don't know what to do now. He has started becoming so rude. He doesn't allow any God's picture in the house and he has started revolting. See? We lose our heart when we have a crack in our faith. Dhruti is a technique by which our faith does not shake. Faith in the scriptures, faith in the teacher, faith in God, and faith in oneself, then I can achieve this. All these things put together, when they start appearing in our life, that is called a dhruti. Indriyeshu avasadanam prapteshu. When our faculties are tired, yena uttam bhitani karnani dehacha na avasidanti. Because of which the tiredness of the senses and the body does not influence them, and yet we keep on. That is called a dhruti. And with this dhruti alone, we can walk the spiritual path. In the 18th chapter, Bhagwan Sri Krishna talks about the three type of dhruti. So, one is the sattvic dhruti, other is the rajasic dhruti, and the third is the tamasic dhruti. The sattvic dhruti is that because of which we are able to continue our spiritual practice without getting tired, bored and disoriented. Dhrutyaya dharayate mana pranendriya kriyam yogena vyabhicharinya dhruti sa partha satviki. This is the dhruti which Bhagavan is referring as the divine quality. The second kind of dhruti, rajasic, yaya tu dharma kamarthan dhrutya dharayate arjuna prasangena phalakangshi dhruti sa partha rajasi. Rajasic dhruti is the one which keeps us in the field of relativity. Prasangena, with extreme attachment to activity and involvement in the relative world. And the third, the most disgusting dhruti is yaya swapnam bhayam shokam vishadam madamevacha na vimunchati durmedha dhruti sa partha tamasi. Tamasic dhruti is that when we are consistently miserable, dejected, frustrated and seeking attention of the whole world. See, out of these three dhrutis, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is mentioning here that dhruti by which we are able to keep on the path of spiritual evolution is a divine wealth, Devi Sampatti. Then comes Shaucham. What is Shaucham? Dvividham mrud jalakrutam bahyam abhyantaram cha manobuddhyoho nairmalyam maya ragadi kalushya abhava evam dvividham shaucham. Shaucha, purity, is at two levels. One is the external purity at the level of the gross body, which we all understand, that we must take bath every day, twice. We must see that our clothes are clean and neat. We must see that our surrounding is very nice and clean. We must see that our kitchen has no leftover utensils to be washed next week. Everything is kept clean and neat, there and then. Shaucham. And you know, this cleanliness cannot be taught. There are people who just don't realize how unclean they are. It is not their fault. Manufacturer's defect. So, one is external cleanliness, shaucham. Second is abhyantaram, inner cleanliness. What is that inner cleanliness? Manobuddhyoho, of the mind and intellect. Nairmalyam, removing the impurities. What are the impurities of the mind? Maya, ragadi, kalushya, abhavaha. Maya and raga, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, etc. abhavaha. That mind which does not carry the load of desire. That mind which does not carry the load of anger. That mind which does not carry the load of greed. See, Bhagavan tells us, Trividham narakasedam dwaram nashanam atmanaha kama krodhas tatha lobaha tasmad etatrayam tajed. These three are the gateways to the hell. He who is free from these impurities of the mind, he alone has practiced shaucham. In addition to that, maya, ragadi, adi can include many things. The most disgusting impurity is accepting oneself to be the jiva. That is the most disgusting impurity. I told you in the life of Swami Khandanji Maharaj, hold on to this. All your spiritual practice will happen. And that is, refuse to be a soul. Refuse to be a jiva. Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu Bharata. It is only by practice that we have started accepting ourselves to be the body and everything related to body. So counter practice. And when you want to practice this, that you cannot be either the limited body or the limited embodied soul called as the jiva, then what is you? Then this you is none other than the Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. And if this Brahman, the reality, the absolute I am, and what is that? It is Ananda Swarupa. So if that Brahman I am, so what should be my expression? Only Ananda. Therefore, after realization, if you have to experience bliss, why not practice right now? Who knows, suddenly you get realized, and then you do not know how to behave as a realized one. So realized people are always happy and cheerful. So practice now. Practice realization. See? Like the children play, na? They play home. So we play realization. क्या हो गया? There is nothing in this world to become serious about. As many people are serious about the spiritual path and miserable nowhere in the world. Because I want to achieve. What you want to achieve? What you don't have. Anything that you will borrow from outside will be lost. Discover your essential self. Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu Bharata. Don't accept this preposition that there is one Prakriti and many Purushas. No, this is only a Prakriya. Purusha is only one, Ekameva Dvitiya, not many. Dvau meo Purusho loke ksharascha kshara evacha, and Purushottama is me. See, man I am, and I am supporting the husband and the son. But when by God's grace both the conditioning disappear, I continue to be what I am in the same manner. When we are able to discard these conditioned expressions, then only we have attained real purification. Therefore, this is the highest sin. The sin is not, instead of taking the pradakshina from the right side, you are taken from the left side. Now what will happen? Nothing will happen. To whom? To that God. Now what will happen? Nothing is going to happen. Then put a reverse gear. Arre Baba, the real sin is you have forgotten your own divine nature and started behaving like a miserable fool. What more sin there can be? See, in the second chapter, Bhagavan Sri Krishna tells, Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avapsasi. If you maintain the equanimity of your mind perfectly, in spite of anything, you have practiced all the spiritual sadhana. When you take karma or karma yoga, there also samatvam yoga uchyate. If you take Ashtanga Yoga, Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga, there also Atmapammena Sarvatra Samam Pasyati Arjuna. If you take the path of devotion, there also the same thing, Tulya Ninda Stuti Mauni, Santushto Jena Kenachid, the same equanimity. And whether you come on the path of knowledge, it is only one. Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shunichaiva Shopakecha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. Therefore, do not underestimate the equanimity of our mind as the thermometer of our spiritual growth. Extremely important thing. But instead of that, we get lost in everything except this. When this is nirmalyam, when this is removed then only real shaucham is practiced. Then adrohaha, parajighansa abhavaha ahimsanam. Adrohaha means no desire to hurt anybody, no desire to curse anybody, no desire to think or plan destroying anybody is called as adroha. You know when this can happen? Only under one condition. When we have discovered that everything is but one reality, yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhut vijanataha tatra ko mohaha ka shokaha ekatvam anupashyataha. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmannevanupashyati. When we are able to recognize the whole world as expansion of our own being, how there can be even a thought to hurt somebody? Do we get this? When our teeth bite our tongue, immediately the tongue says, dekh lungi, and takes to the dentist. Dentist mama, these two fellows have been biting me every now and then. Please remove them. No. After biting, when something goes in between the same two teeth, the same tongue goes and struggles to remove. Never mind. Why? Adroha. Adroha is possible only when the sense of otherness has disappeared totally, not otherwise. Adroha and natimanita. This is also a beautiful word. Atyartham manaha atimanaha. So yasya vidyate saha atimani. Tad bhavaha atimanita. Tad abhavaha natimanita. Atmanaha pujyata atishaya bhavana abhavaha ityartha. Many times we have a great respectful attitude towards ourselves. I am someone great. When I come, I should be given respect. How can I just sit anywhere? There has to be a special seat for me. How can I merge with the common masses? I am someone separate. This attitude is the one which is the worst kind of attitude if we want to walk the spiritual path. Please remember, becoming special is not spiritual growth. The more special we become, the more we are arrested from the spiritual growth. What is the speciality? First speciality. I am husband, I am wife, I am father, I am son, I am in-law, I am outlaw. Specialities. Now discard this speciality. I am a man or I am a woman. Discard this speciality. I am a human being. The moment I accept myself to be human being, woman's lib will disappear. Then I discard that I am a human being and I consider myself to be a living being. That speciality is also gone. Human beings are superior than other animals. No. And that also I discard. There is nothing like sentient and insentient. Everything is divine expression. In short, when we discover ourselves to be the common substratum of the total sentient and insentient world, then alone we have reached the right destination. Therefore, spiritual growth is not becoming spatial. No. Natimanita. Swatmani pujya bhava abhavaha. We must not isolate ourselves from the totality as someone very special, very great. No. This is what is one of the biggest obstacle for many seekers. For example, mothers or parents. When they are before their children, suddenly they become good. Don't do this. And what is the goodness? Imposing their views on the children. If the child is standing, sit down. If the child is sitting, get up. If the child is putting his finger in his mouth, don't put it in the mouth. Then where should I put it? See? This is how we become special. The more we lose our speciality, the more we are in tune with the divinity. And in deep sleep, what is our speciality? We are man or woman, rich or poor, educated or uneducated, yogi or bhogi or rogi, none. All these specialities are discarded. As a result, whatever number of hours you are sleeping, you are extremely happy. Not only you, others also. Because a happy person alone can spread happiness. Like in somebody's house I went, and the child I used to like very much. Very sweet. So I said, hey, where is my sweetie? So the sweetie is sleeping. So I went, Swamiji, please don't touch. I said, why? No, don't do that. What is the reason? I said, see how sweet he is looking. I just want to go and kiss once. Swamiji, he looks sweet only when he is sleeping. The moment he is awake, it is a terrible monster. Now why is so sweet? Because he has become nobody. Becoming nobody is being everybody. See? Therefore, nati manita. Let us not isolate ourselves from anything or anybody as someone superior. Taratamya, the comparison is possible only when the sense of otherness is considered valid. Therefore, nati manita, then bhavanti abhayadini etadantani sampadam abhijatasya kim vishishta sampadam daivim devanam sampadam abhilaksha jatasya daiva vibhuti rahasya bhavika kalyanasya ityartaha he bharata. Now these are the spiritual wealth starting from abhayam sattva samshuddhi jnana yoga vyavasthiti. From here, going through danam damascha yajnascha swadhyaya stapa arjavam ahimsa satyama krodha shantihi apaishunam tyagaha shantihi apaishunam daya bhuteshvalo luptvam mardavam rhira chapalam tejakshama dhruti shaucham adroho nati manata. All these 22 are the divine wealth. And kim vishishta, this is daivi sampatti. Daivi sampatti means what? Devanam sampadam abhilaksha jatasya. The one who is now ready to be promoted to higher standard of life. Meaning those who are born with these divine qualities, they are sure to grow spiritually in this very life. Therefore, hey Arjun, these are the positive qualities, and those who have these qualities, they alone can walk spiritual path. Now, as we have seen, all these 22 of them, each one of them, when we understand, it will start being practiced by us in life. When we have understood that putting the fingers in a live socket gives you shock, thereafter we are not to be told. Whenever you see a live socket, please don't put the fingers. No, but I like putting finger everywhere. Whenever I see a hole and I am a holy man, so I put fingers. Then you are not understood. In the same manner, if these Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhi Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi, if this is the goal, lead a fearless life. Fearlessness is possible only in the absence of duality. Then Sattva Samshuddhihi, this is the requirement to walk the spiritual path. Purity of intention, purity of heart, and purity of purpose in life. And third, Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. Jnana, we were told, Shastrasya Acharyataha Atmadi Padarthanam Avagamaha. We have to study the scriptures with the help of the teacher. And thereafter, having studied, then to practice that knowledge into experience is the yoga abhyas. And when this is done, then alone we are walking the spiritual path. And for that, from Danam, Damascha, Yajnascha up to Nati Manita, these are the supporting qualities. This is how these are totally 22 of them. The divine qualities as the divine wealth for a person who has recently come in the human form from the heavens. You know, this comes in our Bhagavad Mahapuran. Those who are in heaven, before being born as human being, they are always cheerful and happy. Because that was the practice in the heaven. Always cheerful and happy. You don't have to pay the bills. There is no physical problem because na tatra tvam na jaraya bhiveti. There is no fear of death or old age. There was no crankiness because of hunger and thirst. There was no shoka moha. Now he who has lived this kind of life, no fear for old age and death, no problem of hunger and thirst, and no nature of depression, frustration, shoka moha. When you lived this thing for a long period of time in the heaven, and if you are born again as a human being, you will inherit those qualities naturally. They are called as Daivi Sampat, Yukta Purusha. And those who are the contrary, constant cranky, constant fighting, constant, they have recently come from the hell. Because in the hell, they have gone through lot of turmoils, lot of torture. They were not allowed to die, but they were not allowed to live also. And when a person has lived in hell for a long period of time, and if he is born, the old practice, like the auto rickshaw drivers in Ahmedabad. Did I tell you, remember? When I was in Ahmedabad, one person asked me this question. Swamiji, have you observed peculiar thing in Ahmedabad? I said, what is that? All Gujaratis are peculiar, what Ahmedabad? So, he said, no, here peculiarity is that, the auto rickshaw fellows, when they have to show the direction, which direction they are going, they take out the leg. They don't take out their hand or switch on the light to show the direction. Why this is so? Now I said, you go and ask this, what do you ask me? No, you know everything. I said, okay, listen, Purva Janma Samskar. So those who have come recently from the hell, they are Asuri Sampatti. Now who are they? What are those qualities? This is said in the 4th verse. Atha idanim asuri sampat uchchate. Now we will talk about this devilish kind of disposition which is right from birth. Dambho darpo timanascha krodha parushamevacha ajnanam chabhijatasya partha sampadamasurim. Dambaha dharma dhvajitvam. This is such a beautiful word. Dharma dhvajitvam means what? Proclamation of one's being spiritual is called as dharma dhvajitvam. I am very systematic. I don't go to hotels. I don't eat non-vegetarian. I don't eat even the onion and the garlic. I don't see any movies. I don't know even the cinema songs. I was so shocked the other day, right in the temple, when the arati was going on, one person was smoking. I nearly dropped my beer glass from my hand. This is called as dharmadvajitvam. See, this holier than thou attitude is the most terrible attitude. Therefore, dambaha, dharmadvajitvam. That is why we must protect us from ourselves. 6th chapter, if you remember, Uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmaiva atmano bandhu atmaiva ripuratmanaha. Don't let yourself go wrong. Protect yourself from yourself. Dambha is like the HIV virus. It stops your immunity system totally and you are destroyed. Therefore, we have to protect ourselves from this dambha, dharmadvajitvam. Means what? How do we practice this? See, this is, we have seen in the 14th chapter, the bondage born out of the sattva guna. Jnana sanghena and sukha sanghena badnati. We have got such a great notion about ourselves, and that great notion about ourselves does not hesitate us to compare with the shortcoming of others and thereby label them bad. This is called a dharmadvajitvam. On the contrary, we have to be very strict as regards our Vedantic sadhana is concerned with ourselves. With others, only love, tolerance, acceptance, devotion, service. Then only we are practicing spiritual life. Therefore, no dharmadvajitvam dambaha. Those who have this thing, they are asura sampat. Then dharma dvajitvam dambaha. Then second is darpaha. Darpa is dhana swajanadi nimitta utsekaha. Darpa is when we become proud of what we have. The pride in possession is called as darpa. Among the Maharashtrians there is a title called as Mr. Darpa. Extremely egoistic. So darpa, the arrogance of possessiveness. Friends, in this world all we get is by divine grace. To have a feeling of not having something and to have a pride of having something, both of them are equally binding. Whatever we have, we don't have God's grace. Relax. There is nothing in this world to be arrogant about. There is nothing in this world to be feeling bad about. Darpaha. Then atimanaha. Atimanaha purvokta, we already explained. Atimanaha means atyartham manaha. Sa yasya vidyate saha ativani tad bhavaha atimanita. When we have already put ourselves on a very high pedestal, friends, we have an image about ourselves. We already put an image about ourselves. That I am so and so, I am such and such, I am such a nice person, but the people always misunderstand me. What is happening? I don't know. My dear, as you have image about yourself, people also have image about you. And when there is a parallax between these two images, the tragedy begins. Therefore, here is another atimanaha. We have very, very high opinion about ourselves. And such people are non-stop blowing their trumpet. In one sticker somewhere I read, if you have to blow, don't blow your trumpet. Then blow your nose. That is creating all the problem. So, atimanaha. Then, krodaha. Parushya evacha. Parusha vajanam yatha. Kanam chakshumahan. Virupam rupavan. Hina bhijanam. Uttama bhijana ityadi. Parusham means sarcastic comment to hurt somebody. It's called as parushya. Bitterness. What is that bitterness? If somebody is having one eye, to call him, "Oh Minakshi, please come." Now that person is already suffering because of the defect in the eye, and you again put some kind of chili powder on that. Therefore, krodaha, anger we know, parushya, bitterness. Then ajnanam cha, aviveka jnanam, mithya pratyaha, kartavya akartavya adi vishayam. Those who do not have any discrimination understanding about what is to be done, what is not to be done. Those who are residing in the kingdom of ignorance and delusion, they are abhijatasya partha. Kim abhijatasya ityaha asuranam sampad asuritam abhijatasya ityartaha. Those who are born with this asuri sampatti. Now please understand this word asura. Asura means what? Asusu indriyeshu ramante ye te asuraha. Those whose whole life is spent only in indulgence. See, there are three things I told you probably in the morning. One is the asura, second is the rakshasa. Asuras are kama pradhan. Their whole life is spent only in indulgence. Rakshasas are artha pradhan. They are educated illiterates. They want more and more wealth. So both of them who are pursuing the artha and the kama, they can never seek something higher in their life. And such people have these kinds of negative attributes right from the childhood. Dambho darpoti manascha krodha parushyame ajnanam cha abhijatasya partha sampadam asurim anayoho sampadoho karyam uchyate. Now, what these two types of attributes which we are born with, they ultimately lead us to, this is said in the 5th verse, which we will take in our next class.
Shanti 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 Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.